a few seconds, minutes. So I just want to start by saying that I've been thinking about the place of poetry in the arts. As a result of Jim's presentation, I was thinking that poetry is a lot like music, that it requires time. And then Daryl did Aikens, and I was reminded of this out-of-print poem by Philip Dacey called The Mystery of Max Schmidt, Poems on the Life and Work of Thomas Aikens, which I cannot find online, which is why there's no print copy up on the screen. So with apologies to the future audience that's going to be watching, where are you? The future audience is going to be watching this memorable class. I'm really sorry that I can't provide you with a print copy on this, digital copy on the screen. I could not make my scanner work. It just kept glomming everything together in like one big run-on sentence. It was a mess. So, with apologies to the online folks, we have a print copy, and we're going to focus on Aikens' poem about Aikens. And the other thing that this does then is say, to what degree is poetry also like painting? Creating with words pictures in your mind, if you can slow down enough to do that. So I'm going to turn off the lights entirely, Kathleen, for us to, could you turn off the lights? Thank you.
It sounds like somebody's got a cell phone on.
Yeah, I do. I'm sorry, I thought it was turned off.
So what we'll see when we turn the lights on and read this poem is the poem is going to force you to pay attention to various parts of this painting. You hearing me okay, Jim? Do I need to turn my volume up?
Yeah.
What number are you?
Oh, good question. I have to undress. Does that say 5? I'm upside down.
Yes.
Okay, we should have done a mic check first, sorry. And also I need to
Try it again.
keep my head right. Is that better? Okay. I'm sort of almost talking to myself here. I'm just thinking out loud. So what this poet does is force you to look at the painting. And you remember, I've billed this class as the dramatic monologue. So each poem is spoken by a person in this painting. So there's this guy, Dr. Gross. There's the mother. He even has the patient speak, which is actually pretty interesting. And over here is Thomas Aikens. Woohoo. But the whole picture, and I'm just going to drop down here a little bit. So I thought maybe Daryl could just remind us about what Aikens had in mind here.
Okay. This picture is 8 feet tall, just to give you a sense of proportion. And Aikens went to school in Paris and really didn't pay any attention to the Impressionist painters of the time, but really bought into the whole program of the academic education, which had a whole series of criteria for paintings. And the most important painting, according to them, was history painting, which showed an important event from history. It could be modern history. It involved figures, and it should have a certain amount of drama to make it really stand out in an exhibition. In Paris, the annual salon had about 3,000 paintings in it, so you could see the painting would need to be big and dramatic to stand out. So when the Centennial Exhibition came to Philadelphia in 1876, Akins really planned this big painting of Dr. Gross to stand out in the exhibition of paintings at the exhibition. But American critics thought it was too horrible to look at, so they put it in a field exhibition of hospital gear. In fact, it has everything that a historical painting should have. It has a famous person, a hero. It has a dramatic moment. It has a lot of figures, all very carefully painted in detail. And in Akins' case, all the observers in the gallery are individual portraits. And if it had been shown in Paris, I'm sure it would have gotten into the salon and commented on.
Thank you, that's great, that's great. Now we need to read the poem. And you see my dilemma, which is to read the poem, we have to turn the lights on. So there we are.
For a moment.
Well, I'm not going to go a lot back and forth. Everybody got a copy? Okay. So let's start with Dr. Samuel Gross. We having a problem?
I have to turn this off.
Ah. Thank you. We'll see. The light on my forehead. Is it because I'm too close to the mics? The light on my forehead almost hurts. A weight. I strove to elevate our profession, prove we were not butchers. Eyes deep in their caves of cares, fixed on an ideal, I'm all thought and knowledge, though my hand shimmers with blood. It shocks, too real, but on what better to build? Akins, anatomist and haunter of hospitals, who loved what our kind did, painted me a god of science, and God's wound to save. Of course, the centennial figured in too. I would be his beloved Philadelphia, the first city of the modern world, tall with progress. My scalpel poised to make the future come true. I hated posing for him. I had work to do. Neville, you're frowning. No. The echo is bothering you?
Do you think it's the two microphones?
You have to mute number 2, because that's what I had.
You want me to move, Ed?
Could it be the extra microphone?
If I don't have that on, he can't do that. All right, I'll just keep going here. Sorry. This summer is a preparation for full-time professional level production in the fall. Because of this new technology, we're still working out glitches. Okay. Does it capture something about this guy? I think it does. Which is, Akins was a pain in the neck. He didn't really want to do this. I'm a busy man. But I love the fact that he's maybe elevating not just himself and the salon painting, but the profession. And it is really a moment in medical history, this transition from butchers and to us. My God, does this not look like butchery here? Oh my goodness. But look at that light. Yes, you can even see it with the light on, yeah. Anybody notice anything interesting about the poem?
Where's the patient?
Not the painting, the poem.
The patient.
Where's the patient?
I mean, what part of the patient are we looking at?
We're looking at his anus and his thigh. We'll get to that in a minute. We're just going to stay focused on Dr. Gross for a bit. Count the number of lines in this poem. How many? 14. So do you remember from?
Sonnets.
Yeah, it's a sonnet?
Well,
It's a sonnet. And in fact, this is a sonnet sequence. Really, it is. The poems, the rhymes are kind of hidden and lurking. So you got wait and caves. Not quite. Prove and thought, they're all off rhymes, as befits an experiment.
I think we wanted on, she wants to respond.
Wait, caves, prove, thought. There's the first 4. Blood, build, hospitals, God. Well, blood and God, that's close. Course, be, city, progress. Course, progress. Oh, okay. And of course, that closing couplet, which was what made me say, oh, wait, what's he doing with that true do? I thought, I'm going to go back and count the number of lines. And I hated doing this in English classes, where you had to figure out the rhyme scheme. Is this a Petrarchan or a Shakespearean sonnet? Oh, God. But still, he took the time to do this, which says something also about the fineness of the work, like the brush strokes. This is the brush strokes of a poem. Okay? All right. So now there's Dr. Samuel Gross. Now we'll get to the mother. I know what is said of me, that my gesture, hands up to my face and tensed into claws, my body all recoil from the sight of my son's raw flesh in the uncompromising light, is more than it need be, stagey, aimed at the back row. But as pain's lightning rod, I register. I love that line. But as pain's lightning rod, I register not only my own, but everyone's here and serve, sole female in the scene, to allow the men their display of strength, empirical calm, each face free to meet the world as it is. Nor can my anonymity hide I am a charity case. Grateful my son's disease instructs these other sons. Young gods in the eyes of other mothers, none without a name. English majors will say, wait, there's no closing rhyming couplet here. So this English major went back and said, is this a Petrarchan sonnet, as loosely built as the Shakespearean sonnet, the first one? And it is. I know that you don't care, but it's this painstaking attention to the detail, which is kind of a mirror of the art of the poem itself. Is that making sense to you? I don't want you to really try to figure out the rhyme schemes because they're very rough. And he is not going to let himself get trapped into a rhyme scheme for the sake of a rhyme scheme, but he's playing with the language. So, you see raw, row, claw. What do you think about, I'm going to wait. We'll turn out the lights when we get to the next one, the patient. What is that?
It's somebody's mic on and the rest on the papers.
Is your mic on?
Mine's down.
Why don't you turn your mic off?
Or else just hold it down.
They're muted. Are you rubbing?
Am I rubbing what? I don't think so.
No, you're right.
Well, okay. The print on the book made it hard to copy well, so it cut off whether it was going to cut off at the top or the bottom. This is the patient. For many, I'm hardly here, less a young man than a visual puzzle made of meat.
Wow.
And I think, Thomas said, where's the patient? It's because he's not there. He's a visual puzzle made of meat. Ugh. Left buttock, thigh, and feet covered in gray clinic socks, sizes too big for me, all foreshortened and seen from an unusual angle. And here you get this wry, the viewer's directly facing my anus, and Mr. Aikens expected praise for this. And I've never seen a poem that rhymes anus and this, so I have to tell you. I'd be a study in extreme humiliation if I weren't unconscious, my head hidden by an ether-soaked cloth, legs held down at the ankles by a doctor who thinks he's a cowhand, and I'm a calf about to receive a brand. It's a lot to go through to get rid of a dead bone. And the operation just goes on and on. Forever, in fact. It's still going on. Want to take a minute to just check this out in close-up now? We've seen the mother, we've seen Aikens, we've seen the patient. Maybe we'll... All right, so there's that glowing head, the godlike gross, with his bloody hand. So, oh my. And there's her claw. And the only female, which, it is worth noting that. I wouldn't have noticed that in the painting. And here he is, this raw, there's his thigh. And there's his anus, which is right there. His little feet, oh. And I see, if it weren't for this poem, I wouldn't have seen that. There's something, oh my. And you see how he's holding him? It really is, there's something of the poem captures something about this. Is there,
I had just one more detail. The operation that Gross is doing is one that he developed. And it was truly heroic, and it really did change medicine because it allowed doctors to remove dead bone from a person's leg or arm and not have to do an amputation.
and this would have been an amputation above the knee, which is pretty incapacitating. Also, I think ether had recently been introduced. Is that true? Yes,
Yeah.
Daryl, yes. So altogether, a godlike revolution by this here guy, a charity case. Okay. I'm going to leave this open and just read to you, because I think it's important to see, I think. A gallery student. More than a curtain of faces, mere backdrop of students, we're portraits. I really can't see. Thank you. Yeah. Goodbye. More than a curtain of faces, mere backdrop of students, we're portraits, sat for in Aikens studio. So that's the part you have to imagine. They're not just there. Each one of them sat for a portrait.
Wow.
This is an incredible amount of work.
Yeah.
From my bench in the amphitheater's last row, in the darkness of a surgeon's apprenticeship, I observe my future. Bright light, pulse of blood, power and knowledge. The awful hush of those skilled in the one true procedure, the only church I need. and blessing by this hierarchical brotherhood. Even the words sound sacred. Sequestrum, what must be removed. And I roll osteomyelitis up and down my tongue. But better is the tray of instruments gleaming in front. Held up and turned, they signal like mariners' lamps. Retractors, forceps, scissors, hemostats, clamps. It's great, actually, isn't it? I mean, the rhymes, the off rhymes, the observations. Oh. Okay, one last one then, Aikens. I can be found here at the edge, sketchpad on my knees, but really I am everywhere. And I'm just going to go over here to remind you that he's right there. And he's so dark, dark figure. Dark figure. I can be found here at the edge, sketchpad on my knees, but really, and here's where the poet takes a jump, but really I am everywhere. Gross is my name, and it's myself I cure. So to what degree does the painter merge with the subjects of his paintings is the play going on here. He's merged with Aikens. If you have people sitting for a portrait, you look at them a long time. And there's maybe some merging going on. I don't know. I don't hear painters talking about that. But that's what this poet is playing with. It's an interesting idea, isn't it? Gross is my name, and it's myself I cure. This entire amphitheater, I confess, Jerome, a life and death Roman arena wearing a mask, all self-portrait. I both huddle, a young team of doctors, and stand up solid, the scribe's high desk. My ambition dreamed this painting to be home. I sickened when the critics called it sick. Still, I have my secret, though one might need a magnifying glass to see it. Just where my stylus touches paper bears down to incise a face, a risen bead, the smallest drop of blood. Well, I will tell you that Daryl and I looked for that smallest drop of blood and could not find it. So maybe the painting has been cleaned, we don't know. Or maybe the poet is wrong, there's no drop of blood. We don't know. But here is the poet confessing or announcing that he inhabits every one of the figures here. Yeah? Now, I want to ask you what you would like me to do. We can look at the painting some more, we can focus on the poem. It's really impossible to do both. Comments about the painting? Jim, okay, so do you mind turning out the lights again? Is that working? Tap.
No, I'm waiting for it. Is it on yet? Can you hear me? No.
Oh, there it is, okay. I had never seen this poem before,
Oh, well, yeah.
but I don't know whether there are any of the other retired doctors in the community who went to Jefferson, but I did. And the Gross Clinic was displayed at the top of the stairs as you entered Jefferson Medical College main building. And I can't begin to tell you the impact that had on me and all students. It had stood there for many years and continued to be in the main building of the college until Jefferson Hall was built, I guess in the late 60s. And it was moved to a special gallery in Jefferson Hall where it would be protected. By that time, everybody caught on to how valuable it was. And I guess it was thought not to be appropriate to be left where it originally hung. But the other piece of it, and it comes through in the poem, you saw in the Aikens Agnew Clinic at Penn, that was painted in the, quote, pit. And we had a pit at Jefferson too, which was an amphitheater where various kinds of patient pathology was presented to the students in the gallery. And the notion of charity cases, or the notion of the victim as the patient who was displayed. And the comment about, you know, they're showing a Zanus is not terribly exaggerated from some of the what might be considered embarrassment or humiliation the patients had to go through in their role as demonstrations for various things. The whole impact of that was tremendous, and reading the poem brought that all back to me.
Yeah. So there's a social comment going on here then. Yes,
Yes.
because if you're wealthy, you're not going to have an operation in the same place under the
Right.
same circumstances. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other comment about Aikens, you know, all art is autobiographical to some extent. So everything's a projection.
Everything's a projection, spoken like a true psychiatrist. Okay, speak now or forever hold your peace, because I'm going to turn the lights back on and then the picture really does disappear. Barbara? I'm going to.
Of course, the tremendous focus on Dr. Gross and the patient. But I also think there's a tremendous interest in the men and the portraits of them. Is there something that you can tell us about, or is it important who they are or not?
I sure can't.
Okay.
You're lucky I found this poem at all.
Thank you.
Jim?
I just think it's interesting to note that in German, gross means large or huge. And he is a big part of the picture. He's the main focus.
Not just a hero, a god. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And the woman in black is in mourning, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. You think that clawed hand is too much? No? Sure is horrified. Okay, excellent.
Lights.
Susan Lights?
Well, here we go. So there's a picture of Philip Dacey, who died quite young, at least according to us. And here is Jerome, his teacher, his mentor in Paris. And this is a salon painting. And you remember that his last poem, the one where Aiken speaks as himself, he says, this entire amphitheater, I confess, Jerome, a life and death Roman arena wearing a mask. So there's that amphitheater in the Aiken's painting, and he's confessing the degree to which he, Aikens, not the poet, Aikens, is indebted to Jerome for the structural underpinnings of his painting. okay? So yes, it's all projection, and then the poet's confessing to that as well. So he's speaking as Aikens, confessing to projection. Oh, it gets to be a little layered and interesting. Cool. Very cool. Okay, good. On we go. No, on. Forging ahead. Forging ahead. So now we're switching gears to a poem like music, I think. Maybe? By a woman named Liesl Müller, who was born in 1924 in Germany. Spent a really tough few years there, and was 15 when she came to this country and struggled with the extraordinary change in language. But once she became an American, spent her entire life in the Midwest and has a certain Midwestern kindness, and spent a lot of time in the Chicago, what's it called? It's not the Institute of Art Institute, which has a great Impressionist collection. So here's Aikens eschewing all Impressionism, which has just taken us over. Yes, I mean, and it's like Impressionism is the forebear of abstract painting. So there's a kind of through line there, which we don't have anymore with Aikens, I don't think. Daryl's not waving his hat at me. Never mind, never mind. Now, with any luck, yes, I am going to have Liesl Müller read you this wonderful poem, which I try to read once a year to remind me about stuff that's important. I hope. Oh, no. Nothing, huh? Yeah, what? You can see it, but she's not reading. Let's see if it...
Gas lamps
Ah.
as angels, to soften and blur and finally banish the edges.
Wait.
I don't see.
Any idea how I get this to back up?
Yeah, just drag the red.
Yeah, but it won't drag.
To learn that the line I call the horizon that
Shall I show the taskbar? No. Display settings?
Click in the.
does not exist, and sky and water, so long apart, are the same state of being. 54 years before I could see Wuhan Cathedral is built of parallel shafts of sun. And now you want to restore my youthful errors.
I'll let it go through and then we'll read it
Notions of
again.
Top and bottom,
Okay.
the illusion of three-dimensional space, wisteria separate from the bridge it covers. What can I say to convince you the Houses of Parliament dissolve night after night to become the fluid dream of the Thames? I will not return to a universe of objects that don't know each other, as if islands were not the lost children of one great continent. The world is flux, and light becomes what it touches, becomes water, lilies on water, above and below water, becomes lilac and mauve and yellow and white and cerulean lamps, small fists, passing sunlight so quickly to one another that it would take long streaming hair inside my brush to catch it, to paint the speed of light. Our weighted shapes, these verticals, burn to mix with air and change our bones, skin, clothes to gases. Doctor, if only you could see how heaven pulls earth into its arms and how infinitely the heart expands to claim this world, blue vapor without end.
Yeah. All right. Now, we're going to do it's a very glitchy day. We're having a glitchy day. But with any coordination, I can go to the next slide. The volume's turned up on my computer, and everything's working. And Kathleen, I'd like to turn the lights out so that her reading is superimposed over the paintings that you can see. So we'll do, so we'll do that. Here we go.
Doctor, you say there are no halos around the streetlights in Paris, and what I see is an aberration caused by old age, an affliction. I tell you, it has taken me all my life to arrive at the vision of gas lamps as angels, to soften and blur and finally banish the edges you regret I don't see. To learn that the line I call the horizon does not exist, and sky and water, so long apart, are the same state of being. 54 years before I could see Rouen Cathedral is built of parallel shafts of sun, and now you want to restore my youthful errors, fixed notions of top and bottom, the illusion of three-dimensional space, wisteria separate from the bridge it covers. What can I say to convince you the Houses of Parliament dissolve night after night to become the fluid dream of the Thames? I will not return to a universe of objects that don't know each other, as if islands were not the lost children of one great continent. The world is flux, and light becomes what it touches, becomes water, lilies on water, above and below water, becomes lilac and mauve and yellow and white and cerulean lamps, small fists passing sunlight so quickly to one another that it would take long streaming hair inside my brush to catch it, to paint the speed of light. Our weighted shapes, these verticals, burn to mix with air and change our bones, skin, clothes to gases. Doctor, if only you could see how heaven pulls earth into its arms and how infinitely the heart expands to claim this world, blue vapor without end.
Oh, good. Well, I won't read it yet again. I thought I'd just show you. Here's the Bridget Giverny. Where did it go? Well, I guess I didn't copy it. And the famous one, you can see the bridge. This is the Bridget Giverny painted while Monet was refusing this cataract operation.
Oh my goodness.
You can see the bridge, right? I mean, you can't really. But you know, these paintings are hailed as the beginning of abstract expressionism. Yes, that's okay. Check with you, boss. So, poets are allowed to do stuff. The fact is that Monet refused the operation because he was terrified to have it. And for good reason. And all the painters, not all, several of the painters of his generation and the slightly older ones had cataracts that impaired or ended their painting careers. So can we do some examples, Daryl? Who had cataracts? The woman whose paintings were exhibited. Cassatt, no, was it Cassatt? Cassatt had cataracts,
Yeah,
and it ended her painting career. I mean, having some short-term memory issues here. Anyway, several. That's all you need to know. So he knew that if you have the surgery, you might lose your vision. It was not slam dunk the way it is for us. So here is this poet who has taken a totally different tack and ignored the biography. The reason Monet didn't have his surgery is because he was terrified to have it. When he had it, it was successful, and he systematically destroyed some of the paintings that he had painted while he had the cataracts. He said, "Oh my God, what a mess." But then several people tried to save those paintings, which is why we have this one and several others. So she doesn't need to observe the reality of this. She goes in and she sees the paintings in the museum and she says, this is what it's like if you pay attention to the universe. You could see angels around the headlight, around the lamps, and do this thing where you almost merge with the universe. So this is something for atheists. This is an atheist spiritual transcendence poem. You know, atheists can't talk about God because we don't have it. And so here we are, a poem that actually expresses the sort of spiritual transcendence that you can get if you pay attention and let yourself think about this, how light transforms everything. Okay, it's hot, we're tired, it's glitchy. I'll let you speak if you'd like to, but I think people are beginning to fall asleep. It's very sweaty. It's a wonderful poem. I urge you to take it home, enjoy it. Next time we'll put the AC up higher. Doesn't seem to be working. Oh, yeah, the temperature lower, the AC higher. Okay.
Comments?
Yeah, I don't mean to throw you out of the room if you'd like to say something. All right, we're good. It's hot.